Hey rivals, welcome to Back's Attacks. Today we start a new series called the Troop Spotlight, and we'll take our first look at the Mana Hunter. This is a troop that is neglected by many folks, and with good reason. It's got low health, low damage per second, it attacks pretty slow, but there's a key advantage of it in that it gives a +1 destruction mana bonus to any building that gives off any mana. So if you've ever wondered, boy, it'd be nice to have a lot more mana for my troops, then this is the one to get. Now, just comparing it to the Warden, it's got similar health. The Warden's got much more DPS or damage, and it has a longer range. But these are your two main ranged units, so if you're going to use a Mana Hunter, you probably are going to swap it in for a Warden, and because it's so weak, you want to get it behind a nice tanky troop. This table shows the progression in the hit points, the DPS, and the target damage for Mana Hunters as they go up in level. And you'll see there's a decent jump up at levels 2, 5, and 8, but even at the end, the hit points are only double what they start with. So they never get to be overly damaging, but their ability to change the game with their mana bonus is really what's impressive. The overall idea when using a Mana Hunter is to be able to get to a powerful third spell, or in some cases even cast a second or third spell multiple times. So let's consider some of the ancients where it'd be particularly useful to add a Mana Hunter to the mix. Aegis, for example, has a really nice third spell, Trample, which does a lot of damage to surrounding buildings and walls. Talisman's third spell is extremely powerful and can wipe out a whole base. Sometimes getting to that 15 mana is difficult. Same thing with Lyris with the Conductive Blast. The Essence Master is a fun one, even though not used at high levels. You can definitely spam his third spell a lot. Nocti with the Breath of Ra has a very powerful one as well. With Siku, the Area or the Mass Confusion is an extremely powerful spell. Love to get that one going, and sometimes having extra mana can help with that. Viscaria, Zila, Erasmus, they all have excellent third spells and are good to use with that. Let's see, some other ones up here in the Death Zone. The ability to get a second spell going quickly, or to keep one up with Malice is very important, and for Marionette be able to cast her own first spell and then others is also good. So those are just some of the ancients you may want to consider using with a Mana Hunter, and we'll take a look at some examples here. So on this space we're facing a Stronghold 13. We're Stronghold 13 ourselves. It's got quite a few spell towers in the middle. There are a number of small compartments for the troops, a number of different ancients you could use. Just as an example though, let's go ahead and switch over to Aegis and see how the ability to get his third spell going quickly, or to have extra mana for the second spell Oasis can be very handy. So we'll use him in this attack. Now what we like to do after getting whatever free mana we can with the dragon is to be able to use a trample spell to burst through those walls very nicely, by my command to focus on the defenses, and because of those central spell towers, we're going to be in trouble if we don't have enough mana at that central point to be able to cast an Oasis and get rid of the debuffs. Alright, so there's a little bit of extra mana here. We'll go ahead and grab that first and soften up the troops. We've got the 2 soldiers, 2 paladins, a mauler, and a all-important Mana Hunter behind that. Deploying that away from a watch sky tower, although it's they're not hurt as badly as they were before. We'll get the trample down, watch the walls just disappear. That's one of my favorite parts of this spell. And we're able to cast the Oasis just at the right time. And we even have enough mana for one more trample, which is going to do a lot of damage to the stronghold and to the spell towers and buildings. One more Oasis. And there goes the stronghold. And the trample will help us get through those back walls and knock them out as well. The Oasis provides some healing as well as a debuff, so that's another good finishing spell. So there's Aegis, an ancient we often ignore, but is made much better with a Mana Hunter in your mix. Let's take a look at some different ancients. And I think for this one, we'll focus on one that many of you may not have used at all since you first got him, and that is Yoshiro, the Essence Master. The idea here is that Essence boost gives your troops a little damage and 2 extra mana per building for the next 45 seconds. It's pretty much the rest of the game. So you use that in combination with the third spell, which does around 400 points damage at level 22. And if you look ahead in his tree, it can go all the way up to 500-600 points. So there's some pretty good damage that he can lay down. It's random whether you get the fire, the earthquake, or the cold one. But the thing is, if you're spamming multiple of them, then you're going to get the benefits of each. So by combining his first spell with a Mana Hunter, you're going to be getting 4 mana per building. You're going to have a crazy amount of mana, and we're just going to be casting that third spell as soon as the 15 is available. We'll start as usual though with taking our free mana with the dragon. We've got the same mix as we did before. The Mauler just to help to get through the walls. You want to be continuing to take down buildings so that you can continue the attack without it stalling. And I go for a point deploy in order to get all the troops under that boost. Alright, we're going to distract the towers with the dragon sweep. And pretty soon the mana will get up here. Now I'm not going to fast forward much, I'm just going to show what it is. So that's 1, 2, that's our third cast already, fourth cast, fifth one, stronghold down, number 6, number 7, number 8. 8 casts of the third spell. That is a crazy amount of that. It's sometimes difficult against flare towers or with spell towers, but against kind of medium range strongholds, he's actually quite good at that. Especially if you have a Mana Hunter. Alright, so this next attack, it's a Stronghold 14. It's actually a pretty tough base. This will not be an easy one, and so I'm going to break out one of my best Ancients, and that is Siku. Have her at level 45. And the key thing here is to get to the third spell area, Mass Confusion on the high DPS defenses like the Flare Tower, the Flame Bolt, those type of things. We also very well are going to need 5 mana for a Battle Lament to protect the troops from the spell towers. And we're going to come in from the side opposite the Flare Tower and hit that with the third spell. Alright, so right now we're both preparing a funnel for the troops to be able to come in. Knocking away those builder huts and other buildings with our sweeps. And we've almost got 15 already. I'm going to come in from this corner. We're away from most of the tough defenses and the flare this way. And as soon as we get our 15, we'll do a sweep with the Dragon Distract. And concentrate on the Flare Tower, get down to Battle Lament. And because of the Mana Hunter, we're going to have 15 again to be able to recast that another time. And there's some big damage buildings over on that right side. And so the Flare Tower was pretty much locked out of the battle, except for hitting its own troops. And as a closing spell, we have enough mana for yet another one. And a little Song of the Sea to finish up. So Siku definitely does well to use that third spell in addition to the first one, and a Mana Hunter can help you do that well. As a Stronghold 13, I'll usually hit skip and look for a Stronghold 13 when I'm attacking, but I don't want to show you guys weak bases, I want to show you real attacks. And on this one, again, we have a high concentration of heavy damage defenses. And this looks like a pretty good setup for Erasmus, actually. His third spell, the one that reflects or refracts the damage back against the troops, is going to be very helpful against the heavy splash damage ones. So actually we're going to come in right at them this time instead of coming in away from them. But we can only do that, that's only going to work if we can get to 15 fairly early with our mana. And our troops are starting to take fire already. Gonna need to get that down quickly. And those birds are helping us. And there we go. Alright, so watch what they do to themselves here. When that flame ball tower fires, boom, one shot, it's gone. That's the best thing about this spell. So with Erasmus, getting to 15 early is critical, and using it to have the flame ball tower knock itself out is probably one of the best things you can do. Same thing for the flare tower. Alright, and then the Confuse can take another building that is going to cause problems, like the Insanity Tower. You can cast it on top of that, and it will attack its own defenses instead of the troops. Now, the Reflection doesn't actually protect your troops at all, and so the troops are very likely to die, so you gotta manage your dragon carefully. But that's an example of a fairly tough base taken down by Erasmus with some extra mana from our mana hunters to get us there. And I think you'll agree that having extra mana in using this ancient is much better than having, say, an extra squad of soldiers. Alright, I know many of you were excited in the Malice event to get that dragon here. She's got a very powerful set of spells, but the third one is the one that's most interesting, the ability to turn incoming damage to healing. And to be able to do that multiple times is very, very helpful when you're taking on a tough base. So let's switch over to Malice as our ancient. The flare tower is under construction, that's very helpful. But there's still kind of a spread out set of spell towers, trying to avoid them all getting damaged by Jal at once. Alright, so we're just going to steal some mana from the bottom, but have our main attack come in from the north. Alright, so we'll drop down the Paladins and Wardens, along with the Mauler, our Mana Hunters. Fortunately, the Skywatcher doesn't hurt them as much as it used to. And we'll get that third spell going as they get into range of the Flame Tower, which becomes their best healer now. And look how much mana we have, 25. With another sweep in a few more seconds, we'll have 15 more. And when those troops are under that third spell continuously, there's nothing that's going to take them down. It's keeping enough mana to do that. That is the key thing. And so having a bird or two in the mix really, really helps out a lot. My Malice and troops are not maxed out, and so we have to watch out carefully for the finish there. It wasn't a foregone conclusion, but that worked really pretty well. Now this video is going to go a little bit longer than most. I'm trying to show a good variety of ancients so that I'm not just cherry picking one or two good examples, and also trying to show a diversity of bases. So here's one where a Kingdom Mate, Morgan Le Fay, is taking on a pretty good sized base. And this is what she calls Zila Keats. It's a combination of Zila with the third spell with a spread out variety of mana hunters, and they fly pretty fast and get forward quickly in the base, and so look how far that petrify effect is going. And by generating the mana that they need for that third spell, using several mana hunters is highly effective when you're trying to use the third spell of Zila. So she just cruises really nicely through this base. It almost doesn't even matter what level the defenses or towers are when they never get to fire. Alright, this next one up here is actually a Stronghold 15, though not a maxed out one. And this is one I would tend to skip normally with level 50 Flame Bolt Tower and Crippling Poison. But I noticed that one thing is that there's a lot of space between the bottom right corner and the Stronghold. It gives me time to build up mana, especially when using a Mana Hunter. So using an Ancient where the spell does a lot of the damage more so than the troops is a good way to go with this type of base. And Talisman is a good example of that. That third spell is extremely powerful, And you got the second spell to shut down buildings as well. So we're using a little bit of the shield up front, keep the troops alive, but we're trying to get to 15, or we got to 15. We got that blast going around, and we'll shut down the heavy spell towers, keep the troops alive with the first spell. Hope to get 10 again. Now, because that spell does damage, it also helps to fire off the effect there. Now, our blast has died, unfortunately, but our troops are in still decent shape. I think about shielding them, but I don't want to set off the flare tower. And I think I would just have to get the dragon in position. Alright, close call, but that was a tough base, and having enough mana on hand to cast several spells just as they were needed really helped out a lot. And my Talisman is only 33, I can't wait to get him up higher level. I've seen some Kingdom Mates attack with a high level Talisman, and that's really impressive. Alright, speaking of high level teammates, here's Dirty One from Sulfur. He's a Stronghold 15. And he's got the birds moving in up front too. He uses Dragon to distract and draw the fire. The Dragon's also high enough level, it's not going to die immediately like mine probably would. And using Zila. So a very different approach from what we saw earlier from Morgan. But very effective. And using the Mana Hunters helps to recast that spell. Because usually one application of it doesn't quite do it. Alright, so very nice base takedown. Thanks for sharing that replay. And for our last example, we'll take another look from a Kingdom Mate, Blaze Madweed, with Stronghold coming against the Stronghold 14. Going to show how Talisman looks like at higher levels as well, combined with some sweeps of the dragon. Got Malice sweeping across, not only lifesteal, but doing some good damage on the troops. He's waiting for that 15. There we go. Look how fast the left side has disappeared. And the right one is going to be gone in a matter of seconds as well. So Mana Hunters are something you can use in your army composition, whether you're low level or high level. They can be very effective, especially with Ancients that have a great third spell. Alright, so let's recap. The Mana Hunters have the benefit of being flying units, so they're only targeted by Watchtowers, Spell Watchers, and Spell Towers. They used to get slaughtered by Sky Watchers, so if you haven't tried them since that change, definitely you want to do that. Their biggest bonus is the ability to generate a lot of extra mana from the buildings, and you want to use them with a variety of different Ancients. There's also a special use attack, which I've shown in other videos. Some people are now calling it the KFC attack. And that is coming up north from those buildings that have a thick set of walls. Just fly right over the walls and take them out with the Dragon and the Mana Hunter. So, hope that is helpful, and let me know in the comments if you're using Mana Hunters or favorite Ancients to use them with. Thanks for watching.